Hello students, how are you doing? Welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Ramesh Chandra Devrat from Indian Institute of Tourism and Travel Management, Gwalior. Today we are going to study the module Contribution of Guiding to Sustainability under the paper Tour Guiding Essentials. We bring this course to you as a part of ePathshala initiative of the Ministry of Human Resource Development, Government of India, to make postgraduate education accessible to all. Discussions during the previous modules has led to a solid foundation in terms of conceptualization and fostering qualities in tour guiding. In this module, we take up another important discussion on contribution of guiding to sustainability. We will straight away begin with understanding the concept of sustainability and sustainable tourism development. In this module, we will also discuss the need of sustainable tourism development and how guiding can contribute to sustainability. An important discussion that merits attention is the contribution of tour guides in helping with sustainable development of the tourist destination. This will be the last part of our discussion in this module. Students, as we know, tourism is made up of tourists and the tourism industry as a whole. Negative effects of tourism happen due to activities of independent travelers. Tour guides help tourists achieve their passion for travel by guiding them with details about how to use the tourist destination in a responsible manner. Tourism activities of any type, regardless of it being motivated for business purposes, holidays, adventure travel or ecotourism, should be done with responsibility in a way to preserve the interest of the host country. There are benefits and problems with every kind of tourism. Sustainable development in the tourism industry is important because the tourism industry causes its shares of problems like leading to loss of cultural heritage, economic dependency and ecological decline. The impact of holiday in the tourist destination has warranted a requirement for responsible holidaying. Sustainability can be achieved by taking preventive and corrective measures to save the tourist destinations. Factors that influence tourism are studied in order to control the influence of the tourism industry on the tourist. The influences of the tourist on the tourist destinations are also taken into study to achieve sustainability. Tour guides play an important role in helping tourists understanding their limitations and responsibilities in a tourist destination. Sustainable tourism is possible when the tourist feels positive about the tourist destination. Also, the tourist should leave the tourist destination in the way that it usable for future tourists also. If tourism and tourist activities become an annoyance to the local people would choose to leave the destination. Overuse of the local resources of the tourist destination is not good for sustainability. If there are more numbers of visitors than what the tourist destination could manage, this can lead to a situation where the attraction should be shut down. Sustaining tourism is possible when there is cooperation, understanding and responsible behavior by the host, guest and all the people contributing to the activities of the tourist destination. A tour guide has an important role to play in educating tourists about responsible tourism, which in turn is the contribution of guiding to sustainability. The tour guide has a role to educate the tourist to sustain tourism based on three key factors like quality, continuity, and balance in the tourist destination. As explained by Foster in 1985, many players are involved in tourism, both big and even small also, each having their role and share of responsibility for the sound tourism development. Tourist guiding is usually treated as one of ancillary services in tourism. The environment is the workplace of the tour guide. Therefore, a tour guide will definitely feel guilty when they are held responsible for the environmental problems. Sustainable tourism protects the workplace of the tourist. The activities that are held as reason for environmental problems can be controlled and prevented by the proactive interference of the tour guide. Highly industrialized and strategically organized tourism can help with sustainability. Sustainable development in the tourism industry refers to the process of making use of the natural resources to meet with the needs of the current development in tourism, without compromising on the ability of the future generation to be able to use the natural resources to meet their needs. The current development should be done in a way to not abuse the existing resources. If the current resources are not used genuinely, this can lead to the decline in quality or quantity of the natural resources. Any decline in quality and quantity of natural resources is not considered to be sustainable development. Tourism sustainability is based on three key principles, and they are quality, tourist experience for visitors, the life of local community as well as the environmental protection. Continuity, it can be natural and cultural resources of local community and visitors, interest in the destination. And third one is the balance between the needs of host, guest and surrounding. Students, there are three factors should be taken into consideration to ensure sustainable tourism. First factor is sustaining quality. This is done by sustaining tourist experience for visitors, sustaining the life of local community and sustaining the environmental protection. Second is sustaining continuity. This is done by sustaining the natural and cultural resources of the local community to maintain visitors' interest in the destination. Third one is sustaining balance. This is done by maintaining a balance between the needs of the host, guest and the natural environment of the tourist destination. Let's talk about how guiding can contribute to sustainability. Some tour guides are big players and some are small players. Even types of tour guide has a role to play in sustainability. The big operators are the big tour operators, hotel industry, airline companies, transportation companies and other service providers. Initially, it was thought that tour guides are small players in sustenance, but practically suggests the tour guides are the major mediators to help with sustainable tourism. Sustainable development in tourism is about developing and suggesting approaches and activities that will help us make small changes when done collectively as a society. This will eventually bring in positive and real consequences for the environmental, social and economic limitations we face as a society in the tourism industry. As explained by Rabotic in 2010, it can be reasoned out that tour guides are vital in promoting sustainability, particularly in providing quality experiences for tourists. improving the well-being of the host community through the promotion of economic development, which conserves and perpetuates the natural culture and physical values to be found in those destinations, areas, and taking into consideration the need and benefits of the host, guest, and the destination's resources and the industry. In other words, tour guides can contribute to the realization of sustainable development objectives by actively managing the tourist experience. Students, now we will discuss about the contribution of tour guides in helping with sustainable development of the tourist destination. Practical observation states that guides are in a very strong position and they have excellent opportunities to exert their control in tourism experience management for tourists. They also have a role to play in influencing the local community by influencing the demand of local resources and services by tourists, and to encourage the supply of local resources in the form of products and services by local hosts. They therefore control economic returns for services and resources provided by locals as well. This ultimately leads to local economic promotion without abusing local natural resources, therefore ensuring sustainability. For those tour guides for whom the tourist destination is a homeland, it becomes very important for them to present their homeland and the related attractions in the best possible manner. Since they are guides from the local areas, they know more about the place and they provide the interpretation in a natural and genuine way that the visitors are able to appreciate the destination genuinely due to the truth in the matter. Therefore, the tour guide has an undeniable role in influencing the attitude, behavior and satisfaction of the tourist. When such tourists leave the destination, they carry wonderful experiences with them and they share their experiences with their friends, which prompts more people to visit the place over again. The nature interpretation provided by the tourist therefore attracts tourists who will enjoy the destination. Tour guides have a role in helping the tourist destination attract the right type of tourist. Tour guides educate the tourist on expected behavior. Tourists are taught to behave in a way to respect the local tradition, value, religion, ritual, customs and several other rules to avoid misunderstanding between the tourist and the local communities. Tourists are taught to be neat and to sustain green and eco-friendly behavior when they explore the local tourist destination. They are prevented and advised against polluting the local environment. The tour guide has a clear idea of the kind of tourist and their needs by virtue of their guiding experience. Therefore, when a tourist asks for service, the tour guide connects them to services that suit their budget and class expectations. When the tour guide advises a tourist to consume local food and buy local products, they are helping the local community to be able to sell their goods and services. This in turn helps the economic development of the locals. The tour guide influences every service provider in the locality in a way to treat the tourist with absolute respect. Therefore, the tour guide contributes in a way to sustain the quality of a tourist experience, sustain life and economy of local community and sustain environmental protection. Students, now we will discuss on contribution of tour guides in sustaining continuity of resources of the tourist destination. The natural and cultural behavior of the locals is one factor that attracts visitors to the tourist destination. Tourists are actually interested in experiencing the local culture. While they are happy about the local community, understanding the culture and daily routines of the visiting tourist. The tourists like to be a part of the local culture. They would like to eat and live like the locals for as much as possible during the trip to be able to authentically experience the trip. Continuity of local resources is possible only when the local community does not change their routines and ways of life to accommodate the tourist. With increasing footprints of the tourist, if the locals maintain their cultural values, building structures and other natural parameters without any kind of modification, they are likely to provide similar experiences to future tourists who visits the place. The tour guide encourages tourists to enjoy a local culture in its original form. Prescribing the right season for visiting with a particular destination is one way to provide time for the locals to clean, sustain and maintain the environment for the season. If there are tourists all around the year, it can be tiring for the locals. Therefore, the tour guide has an influence in the sustaining the natural and cultural resources of local community. 2. Maintain visitors' interest in the destination for now and for future visitors to the destination. Students, now we will discuss about contribution of tour guides in sustaining balance in the needs and demands of a tourist destination. The service contact of the tour guide is extended in the form of helping the tourist identify a good place to stay, eat, refresh, relax, shop and lot more. If there are local hosts who are willing to provide services to tourists, the tour guide matches the tourist with specific needs to hosts who are offering specific services in a legitimate way. In this way, the tour guides helps in balancing the needs of the hosts and the tourist without plundering or abusing the local resources. If the host is involved in illegally selling local resources to tourists, a genuine tour guide would not encourage referring a tourist to such a host. This is also true about a range of not to do activities that are generally considered unethical in the tourism industry. A genuine guide avoids encouraging any kind of negative tourists. Host activities. When connecting tourists to homestays, tour guides ensure they are matching people to reliable and genuine hosts who will not abuse the needs of tourists. In the absence of reliable hosts, tour guides refer the tourists to reliable resorts and restaurants. Tour guides have a major role in sustaining ethical services also. They fulfill only the ethical requirements of the tourist. They refer to only ethical services of host. Genuine tour guides avoid unethical needs, references and services of any kind. By being genuine, the tour guides preserve the cultural standards of the locals and the visiting tourist, leaving both of them deal in a respectful way with each other. Ethically motivated tour guides earn respect from the tourist, and they earn respect and they earn repeat references for services as well. Therefore, tour guides helps in maintaining a balance between the needs of the host, guest and the natural environment of the tourist destination. Let's now have a look on some activities of tour guides which help in sustainable development. The tour guide plays an important role in being the chief information provider for tourists. The tour guide is responsible for every kind of experience ranging from creature comfort through nature and heritage interpretation for the tourist for 24 hours a day until they leave the tourist destination. The tour guide plays a critical role in developing critical awareness among tourists about the importance of contributing to protecting the cultural and natural heritage of a host country. The information provided by the tour guide in nature and heritage interpretation serves to be educative in nature. It eventually leads to creating a group of tourists who understand the responsibilities and limitations in the tourist destination. Therefore, tourists tend to have educated entertainment without abusing the local regulations. They are able to experience the tourist destinations by obeying the expected rules of the land. The tourists develop a kind of commitment to preserve the interest of the destination. Environmental and cultural protection information is also delivered by the tour guide as a part of the interpretation process. As informants and educators, tour guides train the tourist with tips and tricks to enjoy the tourist spot without disturbing the environment or culture of the place. Tourists are of different types and they have a different purpose for the visit. Some are here for adventure, while some are here for peace of mind, and some are here for health-related help. Depending upon the needs of individual tourists, the tour guide helps the tourist plan their trip by helping them avoid trips and attractions that do not naturally serve their purposes of visit. When the tourists are rightly guided to serve the purpose of the visit, they are impressed and they leave the place with a positive experience. Tour guides do not compel tourists to participate in any activity. They just explain to tourists about how good a particular place is. They also educate them about what is special about the attraction and they eventually guide them to the place only if the tourist expresses a natural interest to see the place. For adventure tourists, the tour guides provide them with safety information to deal with dangers that are related to activities like mountaineering, trekking, camping, etc. They help with valuable information about how to avoid dangers when visiting with dangerous and sensitive areas. The tour guide ultimately delivers the visitor with the best experience they can possibly get in a tourist destination. The tour guide also gives a clear presentation to visitors about what is worthy of preservation in the tourist place. They interpret everything that is unique, rare, and worthy of protection in the process. The tour guide protects the tourist from dishonest sellers, thieves, and exploitive beggars. They encourages the tourist to interact with locals by educating them about the local tradition, customs, religion, ritual, values, and risk. By being interpreted of the local culture, the tour guide plays a major role in avoiding misunderstandings. When it comes to shopping for the products, the tour guide provides the right information about the price to be paid and they recommend the right local shops to buy from. This helps the local community to make money and the tourists is helped to buy something of value for the right price. The tour guides recommends cleanliness and responsible tourism throughout the stay of the tourist. Protected areas tourism takes a lot of interpretation and scheduling of the visits to help the tourist maintain the natural and cultural features of the visited sites. Tour guides ensure sustainability by dividing the visitor into small groups, thereby limiting the group size visiting with a particular area. When tourism and profits have developed in a protected area, cooperation from the local community becomes important to avoid invasion of locals to establish businesses in the protected areas. This is governed by government regulations. During such scenarios, in the absence of government regulations, the local might choose to give upon their traditional activities to the newfound profit-making options, thereby losing out on their natural culture. In such cases, restrictions and sponsorships from government becomes important for the locals to continue with the traditional activities, which is in reality one of the actual attractions for tourists. As explained by Black and Wheeler in 2005, tourist guiding can serve as an efficient tool for the implementation of sustainable tourism at a destination, especially in the spheres of organized travel. With this in mind, it is necessary to provide education and training for tourist guides, supervise their work in practice, and above all, involve them in concrete projects and activities at the destination level. Summary: tour guides are more than the people who start off with a hearty smile at the start of the journey. They are the people who have a major role in sustainable development in the tourism industry. While the tour guides do their best in the guiding process, the political, social, and economic circumstances under which the guide is performing the duty is a major factor that decides on the degree of sustainability achievable by the interference of a tour guide. The guide should be not only trained but also able to adapt to a particular audience. When it comes to furthering the goals of sustainable tourism, the tour operators, the government, and the tour guides have a major role to play on a combined basis. However, the one who is directly interacting with the visitor is the tour guide. Tour guides contributes in many ways by suggesting better ways of doing things at a tourist destination. Small action taken by individuals when done collectively can add up to bringing in real change in sustainable tourism development. In the next session, we'll talk about visitor expectations and satisfaction with tour guides and guide services. Thanks and happy learning.